So I failed probably 80% of the goals that I set out to accomplish in 2024. I understand that's a bleak way to start a video, but I just wanted to be a little bit real with myself and real to the people who might be watching this video, and hope there's something in here that you might be able to take away from it, and that future me watching this video will take from it and be able to apply in years going forward, 2025 and beyond. Out the gate, I just want to go ahead and let it be known that this is not a video that is meant to be a woe is me video. This is not a video that is a video of me complaining about the things that I did or did not do. This is not me making excuses for the things that I did and did not do, but it's simply a reflection, and it's a video about growth, and it's a video about moving forward and what I plan to do, and just discussing some of the things that I did in 2024 that I believe that for me personally had a huge factor in me not being as successful as I would have liked to have been in meeting some of the goals that I set. Maybe someone watching this video will have had a similar experience that I have had in the last year with some of the things that I dealt with personally, and maybe this can be an encouragement to you in some way. Over the next several days, as we transition into 2025, today is the first day of 2025 as I record this video. I'm not sure when it'll end up posted, but as I record, it is the first day of the year. So if you're active on social media, I'm sure that many of us have already seen, or maybe we even posted videos and photos highlighting all the things what we did in 2024. A lot of those things might have been accomplishments. They might have been the locations we traveled to, great times we had with our friends and family, maybe some of the cool food and dishes that we had along the way. You're going to see a lot of videos like that around this time of year. And nothing wrong with those things. I'm thankful for the great opportunities that I had in 2024. I don't want it to seem as if I didn't have a good year. Ultimately, as far as just living, I had a really good year. I've met some really cool people, and I've had some really interesting and some awesome experiences this year. But what I'm really talking about more so in this video is just from the goals aspect of things that we wanted to accomplish or things we wanted to leave behind in 2023. But I bring up the idea, or I bring up this topic rather, of social media and the things we see online, because so often it's easy for us to look at the things that people are posting. It's so easy to get sucked up in the lives of others and some of the things that they are doing that we can often forget that social media is not a true reflection of what people's actual experiences are on a day-to-day basis. Very, very rarely is what we see on social media the actual experience of someone's day-to-day life. And maybe to a degree, that's what social media is supposed to be. I'm not necessarily making this video to dispute that, but I also want to realize, though, that a lot of the things we see out there is just an inflation of the good times that people experience on a day-to-day basis. And I'm not saying anything that people aren't already aware of, but one of the huge disadvantages to having this constant bombardment of these inflated successes thrown at us day in, day out on social media is that it can begin to make an individual want to compare himself to someone else. It's easy to make an individual think that what they are doing is less than, or maybe they aren't as far ahead in their situation as someone else might be. But again, like I said, a lot of the times these things that are being posted is only the best of what's happening and is not the reality of someone's actual life experience. But oftentimes these individuals might not talk about some of the sacrifices that it took them to acquire what they have or to get where they are trying to get. And I think that can be a dangerous thing as well. All right, so enough talking. Let me jump right into the reasons, or the reason that I believe I didn't meet my goal for 2024. I know a lot of times when having conversations like this with people, some of the reasons people tell me that they don't meet their goals is simply laziness. Did I struggle with laziness in 2024? Certainly, I did. There were times where I probably could have and should have pushed more in, whether that be my personal business or whether that be with my relationship with my wife or my relationship with God, or maybe doing the things I said I was going to do, like going to the gym more consistently. There were definitely times in 2024 where I got lazy. I would say that's probably true of a lot of people, but honestly, that wasn't the reason that I didn't meet my goals for 2024. A second one would be procrastination. Simply saying things such as, I will do it tomorrow, but then tomorrow never comes so often. Procrastination, I believe, for me was another thing that I definitely did struggle with, but it still wasn't the main motivator of why I didn't do what I set out to do. I'm sure there's other reasons that I can bring up and that some people might struggle with, but for me, I believe the biggest reasons that I didn't do what I said I was going to do in 2024 was because of self-doubt, fear of what other people will say about what it is I'm trying to do, and perfectionism. And I know that this one is actually kind of hard and it's kind of not easy to admit, because so often we look at perfectionism as a good thing. We look at it as a way of saying that we really care about the product we're trying to produce, or we hold ourselves to a high standard. And I think that that's probably what it should be. But for me, it manifested itself in the form of overthinking, procrastination, self-doubt, and worry about what someone else is doing or what someone else thinks I should be doing. Because of these chain reactions that perfectionism caused in me, it often caused projects to never happen because things didn't feel right or ready at the time. I've constantly found myself comparing my work to someone else's, and therefore I wanted everything to be 100% perfect before I moved forward with whatever goal it was that I had set. Again, I'm applying a lot of this mainly to the creator space, but this, I'm sure, applies to a lot of people in multiple areas of life, no matter what it is that they do for a living or what they do for hobbies or whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. I set some pretty big goals for myself in 2024. One of those being I wanted to journal more. I wanted to be more consistent in the gym. I wanted to post more content on YouTube and make more personal passion projects and just creative content that wasn't necessarily tied to a client. That being said, I also wanted to lean in harder and push harder into my video production business. But with all of these goals I set, I kept telling myself that it had to be perfect. I felt for some reason that I needed to have all of my ducks in a row before I took any decisive action. I need the perfect idea before I post a video on social media. I need the perfect script before I create that documentary. I need to consume more content on social media in order to be able to get the best idea for the next video. I need to take this course, watch this YouTube video, read this magazine, read this book, talk to these people, and consume all of this information before I start trying to create or move forward. I just kept ultimately making excuses for not doing the hard work because I wanted things to be perfect. Instead of taking small, imperfect steps forward to meet the goals that I had set and to become the person that I had intended to become in 2024, I got stuck in a cycle of not moving because I wanted things to be a certain kind of way. Like I said a little bit ago, I consumed so much social media content and so many courses and so many magazines on photography, videography, cinematography, lighting, directing, producing, but ultimately I put very little of it into action, and because of that, I have all this head knowledge going into 2025, but I'm not really sure in how to execute on that information because I haven't put it into play yet. And that's a problem. I spent so much time thinking about what the ideal version of what my completed goal would look like that I spent very little time in the execution of those goals. I ended up staying in a comfort zone pretty much all through 2024 with certain things simply because the fear of imperfection was too scary for me to move beyond, to actually meet the goals that I had set. But staying in that comfort zone means staying exactly where you are. And here we are on January 1st of 2025. And with some of the things I set out to do in 2024, I'm not much more further along than I was 366 days ago. So as I move into 2025, I'm really focusing on leaving that version of perfectionism in 2024. I'm going to focus on taking decisive action, even if it's small, even if it's messy and imperfect, and even if it's not quite what I imagined. Example, whether that is maybe I don't have time to do a full 5 or 10 pages of journaling. Maybe I only have time to do a half page or 1 page of journaling. That's a win still because it's progress in the right direction. Maybe I'm not able to go to the gym for a full hours, and maybe that day it looks like me doing 100 push-ups or maybe 15, 20 pull-ups. That's still action, and it's better than me not going to the gym because I can't go for the amount of time that I feel like I need in the gym. So the second mind shift I need to make going into 2025 is embracing failure as part of success. I'm really wanting to take the time to learn from my mistakes, not to avoid my mistakes and act like they didn't happen, and to post up on social media as if I'm living a perfect life or as if everything is going perfectly all the time, but just realizing that no, I'm a human being and sometimes things don't go the way I want them to go. Sometimes the projects I have don't come out the way I want them to come out, and sometimes, like I said, life just doesn't go your way. The third mindset shift that I'm making going into 2025 is that consistency matters over perfectionism. I understand that there's nothing wrong with setting lofty goals. I have some pretty serious goals that I have set, not only going into 2025, but pretty major 5 and 10 year goals that will be very difficult to reach. And I don't think there's anything wrong with setting high goals and having a high standard for yourself. That being said, though, I've also realized and I see the benefit and the power in dissecting and breaking some goals down into smaller, more bite-sized increments. Setting smaller, more realistic goals that actually can be met on a day-to-day basis. They need to still be difficult and challenging enough to stretch you as an individual and as a person, but like I said, small enough that they can be met consistently, and that is not going to totally derail you if for whatever reason you don't meet your goal that day. We all have to remember at the end of the day that this is a marathon and this is not a sprint. A marathon runner and a triathlon runner are not going to come out the gate moving at 110%. They are going to pace themselves along certain portions of the race, and then they're also going to lock in, punch in, and give it their all along certain portions of the race. Now, I don't run marathons or triathlons, so I'm not even really sure why I'm using the example, but I do believe there's some truth in that though. And I do believe that life is often looked at as a great race. So going into 2025, these are the 3 mindset shifts that I believe are going to help me overcome my sense of perfectionism that has held me back the last year and, quite frankly, last several years. So if you're a person who's also struggled with perfectionism and self-doubt, I would encourage you to begin to take imperfect action in order to be able to achieve your goals, even if it doesn't look the way you would like it to look up front. And I promise you, only good things will come from that. Let's work together to making imperfect progress towards the goals that we've set for 2025 and beyond. Thanks for watching, and here's to a year of progress, growth, and showing up even when it doesn't feel perfect. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.